Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Hello farmers, and welcome back to Mercury Farms. Over here at the greenhouses, just seeing how much water we've gone through. We are in the next morning. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I have been a little busy this morning. I have fertilized and weeded one of our fields. Well, let me I've fertilized both of these fields, this one here and this one here. I weeded this field, and I didn't weed this field because, well, it looks kind of funky that way, doesn't it? But it looks like the weeds are slowly invading from the north to the south. As you can see, the lines like right here. So later in the day, this field will be fully weeded. So we should be able to, as long as this is still in the first growth stage. If it's the second growth stage, we'll grab our Dutspar, which we're up here at the animal farm. We can grab that and take care of that. And just a second ago, I saw these markers on here. It's like, okay, I'm getting used to the map now. I know where most of the markers are. So I turned interactive zone markers off, and the greenhouse markers stayed on. Not that it's a big deal. Just makes it more cosmetically appealing to the eye, not having all the markers on. As we'll see when we go over to the farm. But we need to clean up the animals this morning. Kind of an every morning thing now, isn't it? We got to clean up the animals. The chickens, I did see the chickens. We have a full pallet of eggs already. I'm starting to think I want to put this silage that the cows spill out. I wish they would spill out just total mixed rations. It seems kind of weird that you put in total mixed rations and the only thing that comes out of it is silage. It's such little silage that right now I'm just going to put it back in there. It doesn't really matter. I also made a boo-boo the night before. I went back to the house after seeding those fields that I just showed you. And I'm like, yeah, let's go sleep until the morning. And like at 10 o'clock at night, I get that message, ding. Bunker silo is finished fermenting. And I'm like, crap, I forgot about the silage at the BGA. So I did not get a chance to sell the silage at the BGA. I mean, the money's there and everything. Now, the other thing I don't also understand is, I'll have to double check though. Maybe I read it wrong. So let's go to our money page. I thought it said I got 13,000 from the at the BGA. Biogas plant income. No, 17.5. So I must have read that wrong. I thought it said 13, but it's close to 18. And I think we sold somewhere around 87,000 liters. So that money would be right. 90,000 liters. That's 90. 90,000 liters would be 18,000. So I did get that kind of money. And of course we had the interest rate the interest is 3,200. You can see the interest rate right there, kind of a little bit there. So for what I want to do today, we are going to have to borrow some cash because we don't have enough. But the animals are clean. So if we come over to the chickens, chickens. We got one full pallet and a messy other pallets. And as far as they're doing, we're up to 85 per. So we've doubled the amount of chickens that we've had. The cows are doing well. Also, we got 11,000 liters of milk. So that's like 11 grand in milk. But we don't have the money for a tanker yet and all that. That will maybe change today. But yes, we're going to lease some. Well, we're going to lease one piece of equipment today and go to town in the Forestry area. Which means, yeah, leasing out a cutter. I don't know what they call those things. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. But I do know I'm going to have to borrow like another 10 grand in order to lease that. So let's go right ahead in here. Forestry machines. Right here. You know, usually I would pick this guy, but since this is new to the FS19. We will be renting this one right here, 251 horsepower. Not that it matters here. 251 horsepower. What's this one? 286. So a little bit bigger horsepower. But that doesn't matter too much. Can't change the wheels. There we go. I don't know why. I just like that color for some reason. Maybe because it just... Well, you know me in colors. It does increase the leasing. And I kind of forgot to... borrow some cash first before I can lease. I don't have enough money to lease. There we go. There we go. Let's head up to... okay, so that's the only... Magnum? Sure. Why not? So, we could have this basically all day and we won't get charged this, but for the operating hour, we'll get charged $9,000 per operating hour. Let's go ahead and lease that. It makes a big hole in our budget, but it's definitely going to pay for itself. And I haven't used one of these in a while, so I'm going to be a little rusty. So there she is. I realized I could lease or, put it on a flatbed trailer because we got a man truck and drive it up there. But for what it's going to cost, it's not going to be worth it for sure. Because I'm going to, get charged basically some time for driving up there. But if I would lease a trailer and all that, it's just, yeah, I mean, the forestry is just right over the hill, so it's not too far. So let's get to the forestry area. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a learning curve once I get up there. But we're going to cut down as many trees as we can. Maybe all of them, who knows? I don't know how fast this is going to go. I don't plan on selling any trees until we're done using this thing. Are the keys backwards here? No, I don't want that. Yeah, it's going to take me a while to get used to all the keys once more. That's the one I'm looking for. There we go. It's coming back to me. So I'll meet you up at the forestry area, and we'll start cutting down some trees. Well, here we are. I've been kind of fiddling with the arm, just trying to get used to it a little bit. The length that we can get up to is 8 meters. So it's a lot shorter than I thought it would be. Or from what I remember it being. Yeah, it's going to take me a while to get used to these controls here. So that controls that arm. This controls that arm. Alright. I think I may have it. I don't know. And here is our first tree being cut. Yeah, those logs are kind of short. But that's fine. I mean, from what I... Did it really just cut that whole top of that tree gone? Wow. That seems rather wasteful there. And it's still just as finicky as I remember of trying to get it to where it wants to cut. So I am curious. Am I going to lose the whole top of the tree once again? Because it seems like that is a lot of tree. If this whole part disappears. Alright, so that one didn't. I would have been very disappointed. Now, like I said, it's been a while since I used one of these. It seems like the controls might be different because my muscle memory is kind of kicking in a little bit. And I think they may have changed the mouse of what controls what. Now the good thing about our auto loader is I can kind of like place these anywhere and we will pick it up fine, no problem. But this is sure going to help us out with our loan and get the farm kind of going once again. I mean, it's still going, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think the last time I used one of these cutters is on Rattlesnake Valley, which is something before I started really doing YouTube videos. I may actually have a couple of Rattlesnake Valley episodes on here just before I started the Pacific Northwest. On the way up here I was fiddling with the controls for the cutter and I was like, why isn't that working? Then I realized course play. Every time I hit the right mouse button, course play kept popping up. I'm like, I gotta change that button for this machine because I need the right mouse button. Now see that piece right there, the whole top of that piece just disappeared. That is quite a bit amount of wood that just vanished. But this is definitely going to be easier than using my chainsaw. Oh, it still does that where you hear the cutting sound and it doesn't really cut the tree. That was the thing I remember at Rattlesnake Valley for sure. Yeah, and I remember doing that as well. And we'll just cut it across because this thing should go over anything, man. That's why we got the tracks. Yeah, so one truckload will help pay for the leasing costs of this machine. For the first hour anyways. And then of course we have it more, if we use it more than an hour, then it's like, we'll just say 10,000, it's like 9,000 something. This top of the tree is going to disappear, isn't it? Oh sure, I'm just going to keep saying that because when I do, it doesn't disappear. We'll see how much we can get done in the forest today. What I will do though is we'll keep this all day long, but before I head off on to bed, we'll just return it. We don't have to drive it down to the store. We can just hit return and it'll return it. But by having it all day, I'll know that we'll be done with it. I don't want to have it to cost for another day, that's for darn sure. Yeah, some of these controls seem just a little bit backwards from what I remember. And it seems like I got to be a little bit to the left of the tree trunk. In order to cut the tree down. So hopefully we can kind of get a lot of these trees cut in here today. Maybe at some point we will make some trips just to get some cash. Our greenhouses will give us a little bit of cash during the day though. Got to be careful not to leave the stumps up too high like I just did. Need to pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing. Well, we are approaching a half hour on the machine. And I have gotten quite a bit of amount of trees cut already, as you can see. All the logs around us. It is getting kind of clustered in the center here. I don't know how I missed these trees right here. I've been kind of not really having a pattern at all. The way I usually approach things. Just go right at it. But I do believe we got a good amount of logging loads right here already. So since I plan on having this all day long, and I only get charged by per operating hour, it's not going to be too bad if I stop once in a while and take a break and load up some of these logs, because to get out of situations, sometimes I got to do that. But you got all those logs right there, a few amount of good logs to pick up, obviously. But we'll do a couple more in this little midsection right here. That way it's kind of easier to see where our way in and out and whatnot. Plus I guess it lets you see a few more trees being cut. Yeah, I really remember now why in Rattlesnake Valley, because Rattlesnake Valley had a huge forest. And besides, money wasn't an issue on that map for me. So I definitely bought the cutter, which was well worth it. And yes, I definitely had an auto-loading logging trailer for that. I actually had course play set up on that map for selling the wood from the forestry area. I would just drive the truck to... I actually had 2 trucks with trailers, and I would just drive to the entryway of the forest and set course plate, and he would take off, and of course the truck would come back. So I would just take the truck that was sitting there, go load that one up, and usually by the time I got back to the entryway of the forest, the truck was coming back with the wood. That's too low, somewhere right about there ish. Alright, so there we go. There's a half hour. So I kind of want to stop at the half hour just to see how much money we're making per half hour with this machine. So we're going to turn off the harvester and turn off the engine. We're going to hop into our man truck and we're going to go sell all this wood, because I want to see how, like I just said, I want to see how much it makes per the half hour on the right hand side. So we'll turn that on. So now let's go around, pick up some of these logs, hopefully. Switch out. I'm on the wrong side. There we go. So you can see 8-meter logs in this. This looks more like a 12-meter long trailer, but it's all good. It allows some room for some oopsies here and there if they don't load in correctly. But let's see how much wood we got in a half hour with our cutter. I will say with a full load like this, need to drive slowly. It's very top heavy. It wants to tip over on every corner. So hopefully we've been getting 24,000 for a full load, but now these are nice even cut 8-meter long trees. So 25.5, so it's about the same. I guess it doesn't really matter. They don't really care. But that right there will cover the original cost of the leasing for the cutter for the day. Well, for the first hour, 9,000 for each additional hour. But a little bit extra profits. I think it was what, 22,000 for the lease, so that was 25. So that's the original cost. And we got a lot more loads, and this is only the first half hour of using it. So let's head back up there. I want to grab all the wood and just sell it all and see how much we make a profit. Basically, we got a minus right around $5,000. I think we were at $5,000. I didn't see what I was money wise, but since we just got 25 grand and we're at 30, yeah, whatever total we have at the end minus 5,000, that's how much money we made from selling the original first part of the wood. Can I sneak through here? Sure can, because that's the way we drive on Mercury Farms. On up back to the forest to get into a load of wood so we can bring in the cash. I've been trying to be very careful of overloading my trailer, so when I take a corner it doesn't always want to seem to tip over. Let's ignore that pencil stick that's sticking straight up in the air. Don't ask me how that got in there, but it's in there. So this is like my 4th trip. I've been getting like 16 to 18,000 on my last 2 trips. Is that log gonna be trouble sticking into things? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, we're up to 64 grand in the bank account, which is good. I actually probably got like 3 or maybe 4 more trips depending on how I want to load it up. I just gotta be very careful on corners. Load like this size could tip over rather easily. But we can see just a half hour with the cutter. We're definitely going to make at least 100 grand from it. I shouldn't say definitely. Probably shoot myself in the foot. It won't be that won't be profit because we spent 24,000 for leasing, or 22, 23, somewhere in that area. But I'm guessing right here this load's going to be worth like 20 grand. We got our beacons on to let people know that I'm a hazard, like always. So we're definitely going to keep that cutter all day long and try to do, well, we did lumbering in this episode, obviously, but the next episode, and maybe the episode after that, if it pays off really well, which it looks like it's going to, we may even actually keep it for another day. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to cut down all those trees in one day. Unless I do a lot of cutting off cam, like I kind of did in this episode. I mean, I did a half hour's worth of cutting, and you probably saw like 5 or 6 minutes of it. There is a great demand somewhere for oats, and we do have oats that we can sell. So I am trying to figure out what to do with the money we're bringing in. I think we will probably do it like half and half, pay off some of our loan and buy some of the equipment that we need, like a tanker. And no one saw that. Lift Anything mod is one of my favorite mods when it comes to things like that. Like I said, very careful taking corners. I was too busy thinking of how to spend my cash instead of driving around corners. So where was I? I was saying something about spending cash. Oh yeah, so I think what we'll do is like we'll do a little bit of repaying off some of the loan and buying things like our tanker for the milk. Maybe the other 2 greenhouses, which will eventually bring us some cash. And of course, maybe buy some fields, which in turn, so there's 17,000. Wait, we got a little bit more. For some reason, it doesn't want to sell those lumber. There we go. Well, yeah, those 2 logs, it was probably close to 20 grand. So yeah, I do want the 2 more greenhouses at the animal farm just to make it look kind of a little bit better. Because we got 2 on one side, I want 2 on the other. So I mean, that's 40 grand, which we have enough for that. 50 grand for a tanker. And maybe the rest for today, maybe going into paying off some of our loan. Because like I said, we definitely need the tanker because the cows are making, it's been like almost 2 days now. They made 11,000 liters of milk. So that's like 11 grand just sitting there. And of course, we're getting kind of close to where another chicken coop wouldn't be out of the question either. But we can kind of wait on that because we can sell eggs and get enough money that way. We still got a few more days to go before that chicken coop gets full. But we still haven't found out how much I'm going to get for a half hour of use from this cutter because I got a few more loads to go. So let me make another trip or 2 maybe and see where we stand once we get there because we are up to 85 grand now. So hopefully when I bring it back, we should be over 100 grand. But like I said, I got a few more trips to make. And if my driving doesn't really suck too bad, it won't be that long. Well, this could be our last load. I've done 1 load since we last spoke. And it did get us over 100 grand. I'm trying to see if I'm going to be able to fit all this in 1 load. I probably can. So if we get up to like the $130,000, which we won't. Oh wow, that's a big load. I have to drive very carefully. Even more so. Yeah, so if we get up to 130,000, like I said, but we won't, that would have made a profit of 100,000. A profit. We got a minus 5,000 because that's the money we had, and 25,000-ish for the original lease of the vehicle, of the cutter, so that's 30 grand. So yeah, so it's going to be pretty close, you know. So let's just say it's going to be ballpark roughly 100 grand for half an hour. So yeah, I would say if you're doing forestry on any map, especially on, now I'm playing on hard economy, so it might be easy, you know, I don't know what the profit would be on normal or easy. Looks like I did get all the wood that I cut down. Forestry is the way to go. And if you look at what it cost me just to do this, now I think this forestry area costs 67,000. The truck and the autoloader, and if you do the leasing of the vehicle, I think you're looking at $225,000. So if you just start with that on the farm and sell wood, within an hour you can repay for all your vehicles. Roughly about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how you want to look at it. You could get that money back that you just spent for all the vehicles. And then when you're done, you can sell the land and get $67,000 back. I mean, there is a lot of wood up there. A lot of wood. Now, I don't know if it'd be cost efficient to buy our own cutter, because they are kind of expensive. But I mean, if you're going to be on the map for a long time and you plan on replanting trees and doing that, then I would say yes, it's definitely worth having your own cutter. Especially when you're looking at $9,000 per operating cost. And if you're going to have it up there for days on end. I need to check the leasing fee again to see how much it is per day. I think it was $4,000, which is not that bad. Our greenhouses can, you know, even that out. Our greenhouses make $4,800 per day, so that would pretty much even out that money right there. But this is our last delivery for this episode. And I think our field is also ready to be weeded out. Careful around the corner, I don't tip anything over. Now I will say, for an auto loader, this probably loaded it better than I would with a regular loader. I remember on 15 on Bjornholm, I used the crane on the back of one of the loggers. And wow, it just took forever to load a trailer. Because obviously the crane can only reach so far, so you have to keep resetting the trailer where you're located. And then I tried the wheel loader that put the logs in, and for me that was worse than trying to put pallets on a pallet fork. So I keep wanting to turn up that road there, but that's not going to be helpful for me. It's kind of good that the traffic is somewhat slow, because it's making me kind of drive a little bit slow so I don't tip over. I will admit, I forgot how many loads I've made now. Maybe 5 or 6 loads. I think I've tipped over 3 times. You saw one of them. The first time I thought, yeah, I'm going slow enough. Took a corner and I wasn't even going close to slow enough. And then I took another corner later on. Still think I'm going slow enough. I'm like, boy, I got to go even slower than that. So yeah, corners like this, you got to slow. I got to slow way down. But after we sell this, we're going to go check our map and see if that field is fully covered in weeds. If it is, we'll go ahead and over and weed it out. That way our fields are pretty much taken care of, and I can kind of focus on doing some more lumbering at the beginning of next episode. So maybe what I'll do at the beginning of next episode, I'll have cut down a whole bunch of trees. See if I can get some time to do so. This will save us some money that way. So probably 20 grand. 21, not bad. Wait a minute, we got a little bit more. Did they fall down? Yes, they did. So that was almost 22 grand. Yeah, so pretty close to 25 grand. So yeah, we almost did make 130,000. So yes, $100,000 profit. This for a half an hour using the cutter. Not bad. But that forest is pretty dense, so I don't have to drive too far in between trees to cut them down. So in theory, by just going up there and cutting trees down for another half hour, I mean, yes, it takes me longer to bring the wood on down, but that'll be another $100,000. Not bad at all. So there's our field right there. Yes, it is ready to be weeded. So we're going to head back to the main farm, grab the New Holland. I'll meet you back down here. We'll weed out the field and kind of wrap up the episode, I think, as we pull in front of traffic. Alright, we're here at our field. Let's get GPS set up. And then do that until I see A underneath the vehicle. We'll do that. Alt-E to set the point. Hopefully that's good enough. Yep, locked in. Starting to get the hang of this thing. There, now we can weed out our field, so we got a perfect crop ready to go. Now these weeds up here hit second stage, but I do believe my modded weeder will take care of the second stage of weeds. And it does not. I thought it did. Well, we may have a little bit of weeds in our field when we harvest. I thought this modded one took care of the second stage of weeds. Well, the good news for us is it's not that bad. So we will lose a little bit. Actually, it looks like there's two different kinds of weeds in our field. It looks like there's a stage 1 of weeds and a stage 2 of weeds. I need to look into this a little bit closer. Just a little bit closer. Let me get up there. So before we go through the second stage of weeds, I need to get out and see if there's small weeds in the field as well. But the only way to get rid of the second stage of weeds now is use herbicide. Alright, if I do an overhead view, I should be able to see if I take out some weeds. No, this must be my imagination. I do have a wonderful imagination, so I could see why I would think that. So we will lose a little bit in our crop yield right there. I could have sworn when I downloaded this mod that it took care of both stage 1 and stage 2 of weeds. But I don't think I ever tried it on Ravenport if it was stage 2 or not. And really, for the cost, it would be to lease a sprayer to go ahead and take care of that. It's not worth it. And I really don't need GPS for this last part here. So when I was loading up the weeder at the farm, I was thinking, I think what we will do with the amount of money we have right now, I think we'll take 100 grand and pay off our loan, because we're exactly at $400,000. So we'll pay off $100,000 now, and what we get in the next batch of wood that we sell, we can go ahead and buy some stuff like our tanker, 2 more greenhouses, and that will be pretty close to $100,000 right there. $20,000 a piece for the greenhouses, so that's 40, and the tanker is like 55. So you can see that's 100 grand right there. But the greenhouses will make us those 2 extra greenhouses make us an additional $4,800 per day. So in total, the greenhouses will bring in pretty close to 10 grand. And if I can just remember, I got to go back on the mod site for the GPS or guidance steering. There is a button I can hit to turn the show lines on and off without having to go in there every time and do this, like I was before turning the GPS on and off. Yeah, so the next 100,000 we get, actually it's only another $70,000. We'll buy some more greenhouses and a tanker. I can hear somebody cutting down trees around here, although there's no trees around here, and I own most of the fields. Are they cutting down my trees? So let's, yeah, we got a little bit of weeds. Okay, so yeah. We owe $400,000, but we're going to repay $100,000 of that right now. Oops, that's too much. There we go. But also, if we head on up to the BGA, we do have... I might as well uncover it because it doesn't matter. 144,000 liters up here. So that's like 20... 30, like $35,000 of silage sitting here. And we do have some in stock, do we not, just to make sure? So there's the oats. That's a great demand, $6.29. It is a pretty good price, the best one going. But we're here to make sure we got some silage in stock. 46,000 liters, which is quite a bit. I do have hay just for the cows in the future, although they're doing pretty well. Not too bad. So yeah, there we have. We did some lumbering today, and made quite a bit of money in just a half hour's worth of work of cutting down trees. Well, it's a half hour cutting down trees and probably like 45 minutes of hauling the wood down to the lumber mill. If I drive slower next time, it might be a little bit quicker. We got to pay $100,000 off our loans. We're down to $300,000, and for the amount of money we're going to make next episode as well, like I said, I'm going to cut down some trees in between the episode and make a couple trips maybe with the truck and get our money up so we can just go ahead and place down some greenhouses, buy a tanker. Our canola field should be ready, and then maybe we'll cut down some more trees as well. Going to take this day slow. Oh yeah, we wanted to look at to see how much the leasing fee daily cost. So it's per day $4,300, per hour $9,000. We already did the pays cost, so we don't have to pay that again. But if I just sat there and waited another 24 hours, I'd have to pay $4,350 for leasing. And of course, it's $9,000 for every hour that we use it. So that's not too bad. Not too bad. We can definitely deal with that. But that is going to do it for today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. I appreciate you watching as always, and I'll catch you next time on Mercury Farms. But until then, have a good one.